Dollar Tree DIYs, perfect for that special guy in your life or even your dad. For my first DIY, I'm going to take this old compass that I've had. This came off of a sign. I honestly have had it for several years. I don't exactly remember where it is, but I've always loved it. Definitely didn't want to get rid of it. I also have this scrapbook paper that is from this great collection of kind of map-inspired scrapbook paper, and I thought that this could be really, really fun for this DIY. And I love the kind of masculine edge that these have. And then these signs, because they were both the same exact size, I grabbed these. They're going to be perfect, and I love that they have that removable back. And then I have two little toy airplanes that I thought could be super, super fun to incorporate into this DIY. So we're going to go ahead and take all the backing and everything off of our frames, and we're going to get those ready so we can start creating right now. Now for these backings, they will pop out really, really easily, and these are actually held in with some staples. You're going to want to remove those staples because they're kind of impossible, honestly, to put back in place just perfectly. I did try. These had this white kind of be kind on the front of it, and I wanted to go ahead and remove that because they were starting to kind of ripple anyway, and I just decided to pull them off. If you wanted to use the reverse side of the sign with the smoother cardboard, you certainly could do that as well. Now I've got these great pieces of this kind of scrapbook paper, right? And I want to really capture the design that's in here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of play around with some placement and kind of understand that, you know, underneath that cardboard is revealing, of course, that beautiful piece of scrapbook paper. And what I really want to do is just kind of highlight it because it's going to be the backdrop of the two shadow boxes that I'm creating here. So once I've kind of figured out that placement, I'm just going to go ahead and take my pencil, trace it around, and then just very simply cut it out. And I am going to repeat that with this second piece of paper as well, also just kind of identifying, you know, the kind of cool spots of that paper that I wanted to grab because it is such a great bundle of paper. I did get that at Hobby Lobby, I believe, and or actually I think that one came from Michael's, and I've had that for quite a while. Now I'm just going to take some glue sticks here. We're going to just glop on a bunch of it. And we're going to go ahead and just add our scrapbook paper to this. Now, I really like to use a glue stick versus like a Mod Podge or anything. I just think the glue stick gives me such a better overall just look and feel. I don't have any issues with it just not sticking or bubbling or anything like that. I kind of treat it almost like it is just a stickier Mod Podge in a lot of ways, honestly. So I'm going to take my paper here and we're just going to smooth it out. I will say with this particular one, because I couldn't get some of that center paper out, this one does have a little bit of rippling, a little bit of bubbly to it, but it's not going to be a big deal at all because of what I'm going to end up putting in front of that. Now, you guys remember I did have that compass, right? Well, that compass has been taken outside, and I am working on that right now while we are gluing everything. So this one, again, just kind of repeating that whole process, just making sure you've got lots and lots of glue there. Any kind of glue that may seep out on the sides is just going to help you. And then I've got this roller, which is ironically enough like a Mod Podge roller. And I'm going to use that to just kind of smooth everything out and make sure it's got some good adhesion to it. So now I'm going to go ahead and line these up and put these back into the little shadow box. Now there's a little bit of a lip there again, but because I had to remove those staples, it doesn't stay in there by itself. So you will have to use a little bit of glue. Now this is the compass I took outside. I spray painted it black. Big surprise, right? Now these are staying in my home. So this is kind of my decor color scheme and everything. So I'm using black a lot lately. But please, of course, realize that you can make these in any kind of colors, any of your favorite colors, and black and gold and kind of that antique look and that industrial vibe is definitely kind of my kind of vibe. Now, I've got a vintage gold rub and buff that's in that little pile there, and I'm just going to rub it and buff it a little bit here on the compass. Now, originally I just wanted to kind of hit the corners and the edges of the compass part here, but as I kind of kept playing with the rub and buff, I really loved the way that it was turning out. And what's kind of cool about this is that if you literally rub it onto or use a paintbrush like I'm doing, you can do either one, it is going to dry very, very, very quickly. And so as I was kind of doing this, you can see here I kind of smushed a little bit, and then I'm trying to smush the rest of it, and it's not happening because the rub and buff does have a really kind of nice immediate grip to it. And so what we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of keep emphasizing that kind of antique gold kind of look. I want some of the black to show through there, and I'm just going to keep layering on this until I have a design that I look, which or a design that I love, I should say, which is this one right here. Now, for this back, I know that this is not very attractive. You could certainly yell at me in the comments if you want to, but you could put black electrical tape. This is a DIY, so remember, you can DIY the back. I just added some glue in the four corners and then added some tape to just reinforce it. And then for the compass here, I am going to put this on kind of the rounded, more map paper, because I really love the way that this compass just kind of sticks out in front of that. And I think you'll understand why I did the compass the way I did when you see what the other shadow box looks like. Now, I took a little block of wood from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to stick that right into the middle of that compass. You can pick up a lot of compass kind of designs, by the way, at Dollar Tree right now, especially with their kind of summer, surf and sand inspired collection that they've got, that nautical collection. So definitely be on the lookout for some. And I'm just going to use that to glue it right into the middle of that shadow box. And what's great about it is it gives it the illusion like it's kind of standing up by itself, because you can see that compass has a little bit of a lip kind of down at the bottom. I certainly could have taken a pair of probably like tin snips or something and cut that off of there, but it didn't really bother me. Now, this is what they all look like. Don't you love these so much? So cute. And I really, really love the way that these turned out. Now, for this next DIY, I want to do something that, again, kind of has an industrial vibe. I don't know if I've told you guys yet, but I am planning on kind of redoing the craft room just a little bit. So I'm kind of working on some accessories and some different decor that I could have in my space. I'm going to be kind of developing like this filming area. But anyway, in case you're wondering what the heck that is a stand from a Christmas tree, a Dollar Tree Christmas tree that I've had some extras of. Then I've got this bowl. This bowl came from the Dollar Tree section. I think it was like a 2-pack, and I went ahead and just grabbed 2 of them. I've used one of the bowls already. So we've got this bowl. I'm going to take my heat tool. Now, if you have a heat tool, this is a wood burning tool, of course, to be very, very careful with this. I'm sitting next to a window. I did open the window so those fumes and things can kind of vent out. And you just want to be super, super cautious when you're working on anything like this. I almost think of it like a very hot curling iron. I have a small plate that I put it on when I'm done with it, and I let it cool down. And it heats up really, really fast, and it cools down pretty good. So, the good thing is once you do unplug it, it will kind of cool off rather quickly. But again, you just want to be careful with it. Now, I am literally using this tool to just melt plastic. And again, sitting by the window, have the window open. I'm not inhaling on purpose, but I am feeling a little good. But anyway, now I've got the hole in there, and you can see the hole is quite big enough. Now I'm going to take this kind of glass bowl part. I'm going to clean up the plastic just a little bit, and then I'm going to take it outside. And the plan was to kind of give this almost like a looking glass kind of a feel, because I do have some looking glass spray paint out there. And then I want to paint that stand, instead of it being that dark green, I'm going to make it black and give it, again, this kind of really cool industrial. But you're going to see I kind of made a mistake when I was out there. So this is what it looks like now that it's all painted. As you can see, it's now more of a chrome color, and that's because I grabbed the wrong spray paint. You guys. I have a looking glass one and I have a chrome one. They almost look identical, and I just grabbed the wrong one, and before I knew it, I had already sprayed a significant amount on there. So I just decided to go with the chrome, and we're going to make a really cool kind of plant stand here. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the center here. We're going to go ahead and put a decent amount here. Obviously this is not watertight because of the way that bowl kind of sits on top of that little peg there, but I'm going to flip this upside down. We're going to let it dry, and then it's perfect for a faux plant or maybe even a candle holder. I really love the way this looks, and it's going to be awesome on my bookshelf. Now, this is something that I've had in my craft stash for a while. You can see it's got all these smudges and pencil marks and Lord knows what else. I have tried to scrub this just a little bit, but it wasn't really coming clean. And I was going to toss it, and then I kept looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I could cover that with something. Surely there's got to be something. So I've had this for a while. Now, again, it is kind of beaten up looking. It needs to be ironed and everything. And I'm going to put these rub-on transfer. I'm sorry, these are not rub-on transfers. These are iron-on. We made that mistake before. These are actually iron-on transfers, and because I've used these on my denim jacket before. So I'm going to go ahead and add them to this. Now, I've got my Cricut heat press. You could obviously use a regular iron and an ironing pad if you had that. And I'm just going to iron this flat, and I'm going to do this on both sides because there was that little kind of pinch in the bottom of it there. And I just want to make the surface kind of as nice and flat as possible. But then, of course, we also want to make sure that our iron-ons are going to stick very, very beautifully on this. So go ahead and just kind of prep each side very simply like so. And then you're going to take your iron-ons out of the package, and you can see you can kind of almost like weed them if you're familiar with if you have a Cricut and you've worked with vinyl or silhouettes or anything. Weeding is kind of pulling away all that stuff you don't need. And what's great about these iron-ons is that they do have a little bit of a sticky back. But also what's great about them is that it's not an immediate stick. So if you did put them down, but then you needed to shift it or move it just a little bit, you do have that opportunity before kind of smoothing it out like I did. So I'm literally just kind of taking it here, and I am just covering up those little stains and stuff with these little feather details. And again, this could be any kind of iron-on transfer that you want. And I'm just kind of creating like a fun little zipper bag. Now, I travel a lot, and so when I'm traveling, well, I used to travel a lot, I should say, but I still travel, just not nearly as much. But anyway, I like to have these kind of small bags to put little things in. I like to be very organized in packing cubes and things like that. Love them all, but I will like have a zippy bag like this for jewelry, and then I may have one that's a little bit larger for like all of my electronic cords, and then I may have one that's a little larger for like my medication, and then I'll of course have my shaving kit. But these kind of bags really help me kind of stay organized when I'm traveling, and I know that there's certain ones like I can put in my carry-on that might have my headphones and things. But anyway, add as many iron-on pieces as you want, and then go ahead and just repeat the process of using iron-on. Mine was just set at 330 already, and so I just used that 330 degrees, and it actually worked out perfect for this particular bag. And then I've just flipped it over, and we're just going to repeat that process on this side as well. Now, I did have 2 packages of those iron-on feathers, and I could certainly add more if I wanted to, but I decided to keep this side a little bit lighter than the other side. And I mean, you'll see when I'm done with it here, it's not really much lighter, but it is lighter than what you saw originally. But this is just a great way to kind of recycle something that you may normally have tossed or just gotten rid of. And it's a great way to store your valuables like I have here when I am traveling. And this was something that I was super, super proud of because I don't want to waste anything. I have a big craft room here with a lot of stuff in it, and I need to use it. Now for this next DIY, this is going to be fun. I was shocked at how well this actually worked out. Take this frame that you can get from Dollar Tree. They make a square one, and then they have a rectangle one. I picked these up in Crafter Square. I'm going to take the square one, and then I have these wood pieces. We're going to kind of get rid of all the schmutz there. I have these wood pieces that are like cut in half. I bought these on Amazon, and I'm going to try and link them below. I haven't been able to find them yet, so if I can give you guys a fresh link below, I'm going to. But I went ahead and was playing with this in advance, so I know that all of this will work. But you do definitely have to kind of solve a puzzle here because these pieces do need to fit together a certain way. And so what I'm doing is just kind of making sure that I've got one good line, and you can see here that I will. And then I'm going to kind of remove those and just fill in the glue and glue those down. Now, you don't need much hot glue with this, which is actually great because of the wood and with the backing being MDF, it does hold pretty easily. I always go with excess if you guys haven't figured that out about me and glue, but just try and get them as nice and tight in there as you can because, as you can see, you don't really see a lot of the backing. And that's part of the reason why I really love this DIY too, is because they do fit in there nice and tight. And you are just going to repeat this, and I did not have enough to cover this completely, but I kind of left the center open for a reason, and that reason is this. Now, these are some random kind of wood wheels. These were from a project that I was trying to do a while ago. It did not work out, but I kept the wheels because I thought that they could be used for like a little wagon or something. And when I saw this, they were kind of the perfect height to be able to put here in the middle of this, because guess what we are doing with this, folks? We are turning this into a mirror. I'm going to take a Dollar Tree mirror. This is just one of those regular candle mirrors, and I don't want to blind you guys completely, but we're going to add some glue to the top of each one of the wood circles, and we are going to glue our mirror down right on top, and we've got a very cool kind of industrial, almost like a manly mirror that I just love so much, and just think this is going to be perfect in my home. And then for this other one, so I've got this great sign, right? This is the rectangle version of the other sign that you saw. And I am going to be taking this and chill stencil that I grabbed. This is from Chalk Couture, and it will be linked below if you want to go check it out. It's the perfect size for this, and because it's got this really cool kind of wood grain look to it, I really love that and thought that this could be really nice on this other piece of wood, especially if I used like a black chalk ink paste, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and get my little spatula tool ready to go. And then for this, I want to kind of push this down and make this fit within the section here in the center, but I do need to go ahead and of course peel that off the backing, and then I also need to fuzz this a little bit, and I'm just going to take my fuzzing cloth, I'm just going to lay it right down on top of my board here, and we're just going to go ahead and fuzz our stencil. The fuzzing just kind of helps it stick. If you have some Chalk Couture but you don't have that fuzzing cloth, you can actually use a microfiber cloth if you wanted to. The cloth is really, the Chalk Couture cloth is really cool because you can also clean with it on one side, but more with that in just a little bit. So I'm smoothing down this transfer, but what I want to do is kind of smooth out the bubbles around the transfer. I don't really want to scrape my tool across the transfer. I'm sure it would be fine, but I just wanted to keep that intact. And now I'm going to take my spatula and we're going to spread that chalk paste out like butter, and we're just going to go into that stencil and that transfer. And you can see that that transfer is going to have kind of a really cool, almost wood tone kind of effect. And I thought that that could be just really awesome when it was popping through and being on that great backing like that. I just love the way that this is going to look and the way that this is going to end up turning out. Now, the great thing about this chalk paste too is that it does go a long way. Like a little bit does go a long way. And if you feel like you've got too much on there, you can just kind of scrape it and do different things. But this was a fun stencil to be able to use for this. And again, once you've got everything covered and you feel like, you know, you're not missing any pieces, you're going to peel that off, and it is going to reveal the very cool art piece that you've got here. And I love the way this turns out. Now I'm going to show you how I ended up styling it in just a minute, but I'm going to also show you how simple these are to clean. Now, I took this stencil off. I fuzzed it a little bit too much, I think, and it was kind of aggressive to get off of there. But I took this stencil and I took it in the bathroom. Now, I didn't take my camera or anything in there because you know me and the dropsies. But I did run this under some just lukewarm water. It wasn't even lukewarm. I would say it was probably more like room temperature because I have a spray bottle now. I took it and I scrubbed it with my cleaning pad. And then remember, this is the fuzzy kind of side on one side, and then you've got your kind of cleaning side. And I'm just kind of rubbing some of the water out of that, honestly, is kind of all I'm doing here. And then I'm going back in, and I could probably use a little bit more elbow grease on this if I really wanted to get all of that black out. But I was more worried about the stencil itself, because remember, the stencil is what you're going to be using the most. Now, I've got it here side by side, and you can definitely see where, you know, the stencil came clean, and you can kind of compare it side by side. And I love this so much. Now I'm going to go ahead and just get this ready for storage. I'm just going to take my cloth, flip it over. I'm going it on the fuzzy side now, and we've just got that kind of pushed fuzz down. And then I'm going to take this and just put it right back on that backing that I peeled it off from originally, and then put it in my storage for my next use of it. And I think it's kind of cool, and it's just kind of encouraging us all to just, just chill. What do you guys think about this one? So for this next DIY, I'm going to take this wood round. This is a wood round that was left over from a mess up project that I did before. I made Stephanie her beautiful little wood round with that pink peony color. And then I've got this candlestick. Now this candlestick, I like the flatter side of it where this label is. So I'm going to go ahead and peel it off, although I didn't technically have to because I'm going to end up gluing this down. Now, I almost glued this down on the wrong side. So now we got to flip it over, and I'm going to have to get some glue off of that. But as you can see, it turned out really, really cute. Great plant plant stand or candle holder. Really, really love this. Now this next DIY, this is so simple, and this was inspired by something I saw at Kirkland's. It was a very simple round kind of metal like welcome sign for your door or for like your kitchen wall or something, and it had this kind of stained wood backing to it, and I thought, you know what, that's kind of cool. I think I can make my own version. So I took that same piece of board and just cut it in half. Now obviously this is the example one, but these boards that they sell at Crafter Square, Dollar Tree. You can also pick these up at probably Home Depot or anything like that if you really wanted to. And I cut it down to be the right size of the welcome. And then I went ahead and just took some antiquing wax from Waverly and just kind of covered that piece of wood. Now I'm speeding this up. Don't think I'm just being sloppy and slinging it everywhere. Although this pretty much is kind of how it looks all the time. But I am going to go ahead and just kind of continue to get all sides of this. I did not do the very back of this. I have found that if I use something like that on the back of my front door, especially with the antiquing wax, sometimes it just smudges against my beautiful yellow door. So I didn't want to do that. And I'm just adding some hot glue kind of at the high points of this sign. It's definitely on either end, and then where that L is also. And then I'm just going to glue this down and just kind of hold it in place. I did add a little bit of extra glue kind of on the sides there. I cut this probably just a smidge too short, but I really do like the way that this turned out. And when it's all done and hanging up on the front door, it is beautiful. It is welcoming. And I really like the way this looks. It's definitely simple. You could add florals to it. You could spray paint it white and do the same type of look. Really, really cool. Now for this other DIY, I'm going to take these snakes, these little sneaky snakes that you can get at Crafter Square from Dollar Tree. And I will say right now, I cannot take credit for this DIY inspiration idea at all. Jennifer from over at Little Bit of Common Crazy, she's who I saw it do first. And as far as I'm concerned, she created this. And I'm going to take some of those snakes, and then I'm also going to take these Dollar Tree vases. They're back at my store in 2 different sizes, y'all. I don't know if that's happening in your store just yet. So we're going to go ahead and cut the heads off. We're going to cut the heads off. You can go ahead and cut the head off just kind of close to the, to the neck of this, and then you're going to wrap it around, and you're going to figure out kind of here where you need to cut the rest of the body. You cut the tail, and you're just kind of going to line that up. And I was able to do this with my scissors. I probably could have used like a shear or something. What's that thing called? I can't think of that tool. You guys know what tool I'm talking about. But save these pieces too. If you have any of these pieces, you can kind of put them aside. You can save them for other projects. They make cute little stands if you want to do a candle stand or something. And I'm just going to go ahead and take my hot glue, and we are going to glue these rings together. Now, it really is up to you on how many of these rings you want to do. And even though the snakes and the glasses are all about the same size, I would go ahead and just measure each one individually if you really could, because you will find out that just the slightest shift on these can really make a huge difference when you're trying to slide these over your candle. So go ahead and just glue those together, and I just kind of held it in place, honestly, and just kind of smooshed some of the glue there, and just held them into place until they were completely dried. And then once they did dry, they did actually hold up really, really well. So here I made several of them. These 3 are going to be for my taller vase, and after I just kind of made sure that that's good there, I'm going to go ahead and just pop these over top of my vase. Now, they're all kind of loosey-goosies right now, but I'm going to go ahead and just glue them all on top of each other. Now, I've got 2 of them that are already glued on top of each other, and I wanted to kind of remake this DIY. I've done this DIY on my channel before, but again, it was because I saw it at Jennifer on Jennifer's channel, a little bit of Common Crazy. But I thought that this was a really cool idea and kind of a masculine idea. And like, if you wanted to have something that was, just had a different edge to it, incorporating those Dollar Tree vases and stuff are really fun ideas. And so I just repeated that again with the smaller vase. I'm only going to be doing 2 of these and literally snipping the heads off, snipping the tail off, gluing the neck and the butt together, and then wrapping them around, gluing them together, gluing them on top of each other. And then I simply added some floating candles and some Dollar Tree rocks. How gorgeous are these? I love the way that these turned out. These are going to be amazing.